Hello there everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race C Race and Stratch Guide. We're in the Group C cars from Group 1 and we are off to Le Mans with no chicane. We've got 5 laps to get around. Tyre at ×1, fuel is at ×1, slipstream is on custom, so that's going to be fun down the Mulsanne straight. We have specified cars for this one. As I said, it's the Mazda 787B, Porsche 962, the Sauber Mercedes, the Nissan R92 CP and the Jaguar XJR 9. Just the racing medium tyres available, no mandatory rules in terms of pit stops or tyre changes, and the only settings available to you are the brake balance. So let's just get straight into the action because this race is as simple as they come. As I said, tyre at ×1, fuel at ×1, so neither of them are going to be an issue. No mandatory pit stop. This one is a sprint race, and to be honest with you, this one is a race where you want to just try and survive more than anything else. We're going to jump into the 8 o'clock race here, starting down in P13. With that rolling start, you start in the middle of the chicanes if you are below P12, so that's not going to be ideal, particularly in the higher splits, because you may well be out that nitrous slipstream by the time you get down to Tetra Rouge for the first time, and that could well be your race very much over because of the way the nature of this race works. Thankfully though, there is a little bit of chaos in front of me here, which is allowing us to stay with the cars in front. We are in cockpit view as well, because the Group C cars are actually really good to drive in cockpit view. Give it a bash if you want to try something a little bit different. Visibility is pretty good and you get sort of good idea of where the front wheels on the car are as well. But into that slipstream we go now. I was going to give this guy a bump. I kind of slowed down a little bit. I didn't want to kind of ram into him, so I kind of tried to sort of level my speed, and then he moved out of the way before we managed to give him a little bit of a bump draft. So we do a Hakkinen Schumacher move on the other R92 there, and we end up at the front of the bump drafting queue here, and that's what this one's all about basically. You want to be in the bump draft of similar speed drivers to yourself or somebody faster going down this straight, because you will gain 2-3 seconds in the slipstream in the bump drafting compared to being in your clean air. Now, because I arrived at that corner much faster than I was used to, because I really didn't do any practice before the race, we kind of sort of went off the track. We managed to keep it on the grey stuff, but we got dirty tyres in the process, and that put us down to P13. We're coming up to the penalty zone. This is something I would get used to seeing as well. People are going to pick up a lot of penalties in this one for track limits. Le Mans, famous for its track limits, you know, through the first chicane, Tetra Rouge corner, quite easy to pick up some track limits, so expect to see people picking up those penalties pretty much all through the week, because it can be very awkward indeed. A little bit of chaos coming out of the last chicane there to complete lap 1. Means we start lap 2 in P10. It wasn't going to be too long until there was more chaos up ahead, and that's pretty much the theme of this race. It's kind of set up for maximum chaos. We've got tricky cars to drive. The gear changes means that the cars kind of sort of stop mid straight sometimes, which can catch people out. You've got that custom slipstream, means people are arriving at corners much faster than they're used to. So yeah, this race is going to be very, very chaotic, particularly as you go down the splits. It'll kind of settle down a little bit in the higher splits as people get used to the car and used to the tactics, of course, on how to run this race. But we're going to fast forward all the way down the Mulsanne straight here, and you're going to see just what happens with that custom slipstream when people are not quite used to what's going on. So we're going to arrive at this corner at 231 miles an hour. We broke a little bit early, the car behind me didn't, and we get absolutely yeeted into the French driver there. I did my best to avoid them. I kind of tried to throw the car to the left hand side, but it wasn't to be. Damage to the front, damage to the rear, down to P11, and we're going to be so slow down this straight. I think we end up in P13 or 14 by the time the damage fixes itself. But yeah, that's just what's going to happen a lot in the lower splits. Unfortunately, it's just going to be absolute chaos as people just arrive at that corner far faster than they're used to. They'll hit their normal braking point from time trial, and carnage will ensue. So down to P14 again after that. We're coming up to the penalty zone. What's going to happen in the penalty zone? Is there going to be a large selection of penalties to be served? Of course there is. It's Le Mans, you know, so I think some people are serving collision penalties, some people are serving track limits penalties. That puts us up into P11 at the end of lap 2, and we kind of made some progress. That driver decided to quit. Robomax decided to drive off the track. We passed the French driver up ahead coming into Tetra Rouge here, got the slipstream, got to the front of the bump drafting queue, and thankfully managed to stay there. We capitalised on the Spanish driver spinning out of Mulsanne corner, and I wanted to leave this clip in here because we are in clean air. So we have a Mazda 787B ahead of us by 2 seconds as we start the Mulsanne straight, and we have a Jaguar XJR behind us at only 6/10. And I'm just going to demonstrate why the R92, the Nissan, is the only viable car here, because by the time we get to the end of the straight, we are right behind the Mazda, and the Jaguar XJR has been left in the dust. For comparison, the R92 will do 217, 218 miles an hour down the main straight in clean air. The Porsche 962, 204. Talk about an imbalance. But of course, we finished this one in P Wombo, because of course it's written in the stars. Only 16 minutes for this race, so why are we not doing 6 laps PD? That would take us up to 19 minutes, 19 and a half minutes. Perfect daily race C length. So this race is ultimately just a case of bad quality control from Polyphony Digital. It's a good combination. Group C cars around Le Mans are very enjoyable, but anybody that knows their Group C cars knew that this was very much going to be a one-make race from the get-go, because the R92 is just so much faster than any of the other cars down that straight. So yeah, clearly whoever, you know, why are we not just omitting that car? Why are we not just making it the Jaguar, the Porsche, maybe the Sauber, or the Salva, whatever way you say the name of the Mercedes car. Beyond that, custom slipstream is so stupid in this one, it just creates chaos. You know my feelings on that, I'll say no more on it. We've got no strategy whatsoever. You know, why not maybe make fuel an issue, so we're pitting for fuel, we don't have to change the tyres. You know, so much could be done with this race just to make it a little bit more interesting. As I said, just a really obvious case of poor quality control. It'll be fun for a day, I guess, until people get fed up driving the same car and get fed up getting punted because of the custom slipstream. And that's pretty much all I've got to say on this one. It's not been the best start to the year for Polyphony Digital in terms of daily race C. We can only hope for improvement in the future. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.